you can live your passion and at the same time deliver value to people, why not? Do you deserve to make some money doing that? Yes. Because of that universal principle, you will be paid in direct proportion to the value you give. So our key as a content provider, we're looking for people that will give massive, say the word with me, massive. Oh, come on, son, I didn't see you move your mouth. Ready? Massive value to the world. And so today we're going to have the one and only Mr. Dr. Obom Bowen do the presentation. I'm sure he's going to have me chime in as well. And then we're going to go through it as quick and as efficiently as we can. And I hope you're excited. If you're new to this call, take notes. If you've been on the call before, take notes. Because if you listen, you are a different person today than you were the last time you listened to it. So you may just find you pick up something that you didn't pick up the last time you listened. This is why people read books multiple times. This is why they watch movies and TV shows multiple times, because there's always something new to learn as you are a different person. So Dr. O, are you there, young sir?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yes sir.
That's why your name's Dr. O, for oh yeah.
Oh, I'm ready to go.
For those of you who do not know the one and only Dr. Obom Bowen, he is the gentleman that today is the day. That's what his message is all about. And with ASCIRA, and I'm about to sneeze. Woo! Woo! They say when you sneeze, that's because truth is there. So, or is that a hiccup? I don't know. It's one of those. Anyway, one of the reasons that I love that the message today is the day is so perfect for this is because of the sheer fact that in this unprecedented time in our world right now with the COVID, we are looking for the leaders to step up, the new leaders, the new information, as well as the information that's out there. How do we get it out to more people? So Dr. O, I'm ready. I know they're ready. What do you got for us today?
Well, Robert, we have an amazing, I think let's continue to just do this as a tag team. So since you're starting in this fashion of just kind of going back and forth, let's just have a conversation today because I'm absolutely excited to share what we have. And as you mentioned, before I actually jump into it directly, I just want to share, obviously you see here on the far right, I've been introduced by Robert. So we're going to go backwards. Robert and I go back some years, started as a mentor and teacher to me. I was attending a training to learn how to actually present, to learn how to teach, to learn how to grow. And it was all about the concepts and mindsets and the philosophy to help me become the person I am today. So I've wanted to work with Robert one-on-one for years. And when I had the opportunity to, the first thing I did was kind of partnered with one of the courses he was doing. And the truth was I didn't really do much of it. It became shelf life for a while. We'll talk about that later on, but it gave me a little more of access. And the reason I do anything today is for two things, leverage and access. So it began that journey, but then I built several businesses with my wife, and she has always been my accountability partner. Now, a year and a half ago, my wife started to tell me that she just wants to be more of a wife and a mother because she doesn't have to do anything. She doesn't even want to be my CEO of any other company or keep me accountable for some of the stuff I was doing anymore. So I was looking for an accountability coach, and Robert had recently launched a program. So I said, you know what? I'm going to pay Robert to keep me accountable. And it's been a ride ever since. We've become more of friends. So that was really the nature of why I wanted to do what I was doing, which is gaining leverage and having access to Robert, his message, his mindset, his methodologies and philosophies, and the ability to really get to work with more professionals like him. So that's a little bit about Robert. Now let's kind of do it like a typewriter, go all the way back over to the left with part of the leadership team here. Some of these amazing souls we're working with. Ms. Vasana Patel, my CEO of global operations for the Outcome and Breakthrough Mastermind, started when I launched the new company, which my wife said she's not going to help me with. I needed to find a CEO to fill her place. So Vasana took on the challenge, and within the first 6 months, we built that company to over 335%. So doing very well. She's very ambitious, and I love that. to the right of her is my favorite human on planet Earth, Mr. Vinny Cochran. He's our global leadership ambassador, 30 years in the Marine Corps. He's the gentleman that actually literally helped saved my life from committing suicide for 2 years when I was blown up in Iraq, suicide ideation, depressed, and was going through a really terrible divorce. And because of that, he's become my favorite person in the world. Because of him, I started my first, entrepreneurial network marketing run with this gentleman being part of my leadership and support team. So he is the most befitting person when it comes to leadership because he does it my favorite way, by example. And then there's Annie Koshi, the ninja. Annie, look at that smile. She's one of the most talented women. Just actually got her copy of her new book out, right? Basically becoming your own badass self. This lady is amazing. She is an award-winning author. She is an actress. She just fits so many hats, multiple talents. So on the team, we call her the ninja because she does just about anything. You never know where she's going to show up and when. She's just, you blink your eye, she's there. You blink it again, she's gone. And then there's Miss Stephanie Bowen. Stephanie is my pretty much adopted daughter in business. And this young lady, she is a barrel racer. Google it to find out what it is. I didn't know what it was before, but she's just multiple talents. She's a business owner. She is a bodybuilder. But most importantly, she is a Guinness World Record holder. So we're surrounded by greatness. And this presentation today is really to speak to a lot of you that has that greatness inside of you, that you're giving it to the world already, or some of you are ready to give it to the world. And what we're going to talk about today before we jump into it is a little bit about ASCIRA, who we are, what we do, and how we can help bring that greatness inside of you out in the form of video onto our content platform. So I'm going to go back and forth with Robert and I, because one of the things that's important, I remember, Robert, if you remember when we started talking in January, I believe it was, February, you had just came back from India and went into quarantine. We started talking about this opportunity. Share a little bit about, that conversation we had and what really clicked for you in deciding to put your content on our platform.
Well, yeah, it was March 10th. March 10th, I arrived back from doing a 3-day training in India. March 11th, we went into lockdown. And I joke, even though sometimes it's not, I wonder if it's a joke, I wonder if I caused COVID. Because for a couple of years, I've been saying, I want to slow down. I'm flying over 200,000 miles a year right now on average. And even though I'm taking 6 months a year to be at home, I am so drained because of the energy I put out that I want to slow down. And I wanted to put my information online and have it go digital. And so I've been saying that for a few years. All of a sudden I come home. All of a sudden the universe goes, okay, here's COVID. You're at home. What are you going to do? And because you had just been at my home for a private mastermind before going to India, it's only 2 weeks earlier.
Right.
It was like, well, Robert, we need to have a conversation. And one of the things that I appreciate about surrounding yourself with growth-minded people is you're willing to stand in your power and say, whether you're open to it or not, I need you to look at this because to me, this is an answer. Because you recommended it, I trust you. I did my due diligence and I made the decision. And one of the differences between successful people and unsuccessful people is successful people make decisions and then they make it happen. They don't start second guessing, or even if they do, because I do sometimes, right, they still keep going forward. Once they've made that decision, they commit. And so my commitment was A, I want to be a content provider, but B, I'm going to aggressively build a team with ASCIRA, because my selfish goal was A, I wanted to recover my investment as quick as possible, but B, I now had hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost revenue because of all of my live events being canceled. I want to replace that so my lifestyle doesn't have to change,
right?
Because I like my lifestyle.
Of course you do.
Well, and let's be real. What happened when COVID hit? A lot of people went into victim role,
right?
And they shut down or they complained, and I feel blessed because I have the mindset and I'm surrounded by amazing people. So that's what led to the initial decision. And I'll tell you, I am so happy that I did, because what a ride it has been already since the middle of March when I officially came on.
I love it. And you know what, Robert, what I want to share with everybody a little bit is go through some of this information, what you said yes to, because you mentioned something earlier. You said, you know, you wanted to build this aggressively once you saw it. That you've already have. I don't want to give it away too much, but I mean, you pretty much almost somewhat, if not more than halfway, replaced your income that's been taken away because COVID is gone. But we'll get to that later, guys. But I want to jump in and show you guys what Robert said yes to was, you know, he saw this social lifestyle learning community that we have, and he saw the ability to put his work on the platform because we're an on-demand streaming platform with information with the best content providers in the world, the top authors like Robert, the top speakers. There's so many other folks, and I can't wait to jump into you. So our mission is to provide high value and exceptional benefits so that you are able to, well, not you, but the world is able to actually be able to unleash their innate human potential from your work as a professional. So this is what Robert saw. He saw the ability for us to be able to see what we were doing was being able to create more of a conscious and connected world by teaching people how to become the greatest version of themselves, right? Which is one of the things he's already doing. And by being able to take his work and put it on a platform, like a lot of these professionals you see here, I mean, from Sue Demas is you know, her course on Heart Living. Heather Ho, she's a voice actress that teaches, you know, what she called the voice gas station, teaches folks how to actually use their voice. And Miss Carrie Weber Young out of Canada too. She is teaching about superheroes. What she does for, I'm telling you, for kids, and you just get a chance to connect with this young lady, it's almost impossible to get access to these individuals like yourselves who are professionals that we are willing as a company to help take your work. So you think of, would you put your content at no cost to you on a platform that is going to brand you, market you, and share you on a global platform and give access to our platform so they can reach out to you when they need access to more. And then you get to keep 100% of all the earnings when any of our members in our lifestyle community reach out to you. If the answer is yes, let's dive in some more. Here's what a lot of folks are saying about us already, but I'm just going to read a portion of this that says, you know, from Annie Chan in Singapore. She says, I got to know of ASCIRA at the start of 2020 and just wow, ASCIRA with its online learning, travel portal, and social media and e-commerce will tear down all the borders and let business simply flow. And I'm going to stop there because that's what, as an entrepreneur, we all want to be able to do. Currently, I own 8 businesses. 7 of them are in complete flow. The 8th is it's getting the flow down. It's getting things down. And that 8th company, the reason I decided to partner with ASCIRA and actually put my work on the platform is so that I can be branded, marketed, and sold on a global platform so I can put that business in flow. So if you go to our website, it looks just like this. You can go down here to where it says, be one of our content providers. Once you click, this is the world you step into when you get a chance to start becoming one of our content providers. So what you do is we're able to help take your knowledge and turn it into profits. What you're already doing, for those of you who are speakers, authors, trainers, very successful entrepreneurs who want to be able to now tap into the digital space. So the ASCIRA content providers are highly passionate about their materials, just like I am, just like Robert is, just like so many of you are about your work. And we're very passionate about branding you at no cost globally. And you think about this, we have a very, very strong presence, and you'll see that later on in Asia and India, which is 2/3 of the world. Think about being branded in a market where you don't speak the language, but in Asia and India, where the need for English content, the best content in North America is the greatest. They are the largest consumers of English material. We prefer those of you who have the credentials, who are highly experienced, who've been out there in the field and have the expertise for years and years at a time. So while we help you grow your brand, it's going to be building your brand to increase your global reach from our community. It'll help you to inspire the world within our community. And the goal you'll see later on is to go beyond $1 billion, not $1 billion, but 1 billion individuals subscribing to our online platform. Now, the beauty of that is this: because of COVID, the world has now woken up. 100% attention is being paid to what's happening online. I mean, for example, we're here on Zoom and some of us are on Facebook, but Zoom spiked 80% growth. That's over $7 billion in the last 5 months alone that company grew. So now that the world's mind have expanded, it will not retract. So some of the top other presenters, trainers, speakers, we have professionals on our platform like Gary Vacca, the Y guy, Miss Cindy Wang. She's one of the most amazing individuals out in Taiwan. She's written over 11 books and traveled over to 20 countries, sharing her message and passion. Her average event is about 6,000 US to go to for one of her weekend seminars. And her work is on our platform. Mine, it's the average when it's discounted at 75% is 5,000 from her $20,000 and $40,000 courses on that platform, getting access to my work. So there's very, very talented individuals like yourself on there. And we're doing the heavy lifting for you. So before we jump into more of it, I want to just kind of get to some of these questions and answer them before they come up when we're going through the information. So number one is, how should you actually get started in the application process? If you're on this Zoom or if you're watching on Facebook, connect back to the person who you're seeing it with, tag them, ask them so that they can tell you how to get to the application process. Now, I want to be clear. I'm going to share how you can become a content provider. Again, it's at no cost to you. And then once we're finished with that, I'm also going to talk about the opportunity side, which is what we've been building for the last 120 days. In 53 countries, and it's been amazing. So 53 countries in the last 120 days. We're going to talk about that. That's how we've been branding it. And this is why we want to be able to pay to get your content, if you're accepted in our process, to go through. And what we're asking for is a minimum of between 10 to 20 modules, because our basic blanket minimum is basically this: 20 modules, videos, 10 minutes a piece, an entire course. So my course that's up there, it's 20 modules, 10 minutes a piece. So if someone, you're asking how long is the course, somewhere between 180 to 220 minutes, right? So when you're looking at, what should you send, in your application, this is what you would sell in your application. And it's pretty simple to do. The application should include the following: your bio, a professional photo of you, a vertical and a horizontal one. And later on, I'll show you why that's important. And then basically the summary of the 20 video titles that you have. And just today alone, Miss Annie Koshi, who I was talking about, I just looked at her summary for her 20 different titles. Very, very powerful. She has spent close to 30 years in her life learning and developing that message and is ready to bring it to the world. So you'll also want to submit your social media handles, profiles, and a website. So, and later on, you'll see why this is all important, right? But that becomes your digital audition. What is your digital audition? It's a video that's no more than basically 5 to 10 minutes long, explaining pretty much who you are, what you do, and the message you're planning to put on our platform and the value that you're basically planning to bring to our community, right? So I can talk about some of the benefits here and what goes through for approval, but here's what I want to do. I want to bring Robert back on instead of going through the messages. And Robert, if you can just share what the process has been like for you from submitting and going through, because Robert actually, it's a little, I don't know if he knew this or not, but I think he did. I am highlighting him a lot today, so you'll get a chance to see Robert's information on the course, and he'll tell you more about that process, how we went through it. So tell us a little bit about that, Robert.
Well, one of the things I learned very quickly is that when they sent me the application, it's very straightforward what they're asking for. And what did my mind do? I tried to overcomplicate it. And so, especially when it came to the video, that what they wanted me to shoot.
Right.
And so I started overthinking it. And I remember being on a call and they're like, no, just take your phone, go stand in front of a wall, if that's what it takes, and just talk to us. And so I took my computer, I put it up on, so it's roughly face level. I stood against a wall in my media room. I hit record and I just talked. And I had a little bit of a B-roll. So I'm going to apologize for this because I was technical enough that I figured out, my tech partner said, on Mac, there's a program, and I edited and I put the B-roll at the beginning. Well, when people saw my example, they thought they had to get really highly produced videos. It was crazy. But so I learned a lesson because again, and it's just like network marketing. The example you do of how you bring people on is how they're going to think they have to bring people on.
Right.
So that was my first lesson in keeping it simple. So the application was simple. And I remember when I got the call from Belinda, the COO, and she said, we need your material. And she didn't know really what it meant that when I say I'm a warrior. She said, we're coming back. We just landed from Taiwan. We're in Vancouver. We need to get you recorded. And I'm in Alberta, which is a 12-hour drive away. And I said, I'll be there tomorrow. And she laughed and she's like, and I'm like, no, I'm serious. I'll be there tomorrow. And she took in a deep breath and she's like, okay. And we said actually for me to be down a couple days later. But then, of course, the government said she had to go into 2-week isolation. So we postponed it for the 2 weeks, but then we arranged to get a couple of content providers together so that they were able to set it up and do a few in the week.
Right.
My wife and I headed down and I had my modules in place. And it blew me away, the attention to detail. Everything from making sure that the makeup's done, everything from the lighting, even having the reflector down below me in front of me to make sure the shadows, like they had such attention to detail. For 18 years, I've been on stage and I'm highly interactive and energetic on stage. Right. So what a learning experience to have to talk to the camera and keep my energy up while I'm teaching people in the camera. And it was a great, long, long day. We did 17 modules in about a 9-hour period. And for me, it was pretty much speak, 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 cut, next, cut. And I know it was the same for you, Dr. Obom. And then we had a lunch break, refueled, I changed my suit, and we went again. And then, of course, because they were doing multi-camera and all that, I'm a learner and I'm watching everything. And so when it was all done, my mind automatically could see, especially when I was asking questions about editing, what does it take? I was calculating because I wanted to know what would this have cost me to do this all on my own, let alone the marketing side of it.
Right.
And I was calculating between the travel, the actual production, the editing. And I was like, wow, these guys are serious about investing in great content.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then when you look at that, as Robert said, this was the content review board that reviewed Robert. You might ask who, Travis Fox, he's a producer, Emmy Award-winning actor, as well as our CEO. There's 6 members on the board, but these 3 are 3 of the top decision makers that help. And then there's, Dave Boyle, who's a TEDx Talk producer, and Curtis Randall, who's the executive creative director for the entire program. And you look at that cost that Robert was talking about to be able to do that and get him on this academy is roughly between 10 to 18,000, depending on the person. So when you look at it, Robert went through that process. If you might have asked, you go through, they flew him out, sat him down, shot him, paid for the state, paid to get everything done post-production for him to be on our platform. This is what our academy looks like. And here it's all the different courses from some of the best people around the world. As you see, there's a huge demand here in the Asian market, anywhere from blockchain, mastering sales, empowered leadership. You see down here, Sue from Sue Demas, Heart-Led Living, myself, the human behavior psychology. There's so many powerful courses. And then there you go. There's Robert's course, The Authority Key. And I mentioned this is one of the reasons why you would want to send in the vertical picture, because you see how the picture branches there, and you'll see the horizontal later, what's very, very important about that. So you start to look through and see what the course looks like. They're all professionals. If you were to go and try to find these individuals, you look at the diversity in content. I mean, if you want to go back and still learn hip hop dancing, you can. Internet marketing blueprint, right? You can learn success-driven entrepreneurs, digital energy. You can learn so much from what's on our platform. But let's take a look. There's so much more. Again, there's Carrie's course, Your Inner Superpower. And then here's Cindy Wang talking about understanding the importance between your left brain and right brain. There's so many powerful courses. Where is your course? If you were to actually professionally get yourself shot in a professional studio, I'm sure it may not be in your house. As a professional speaker, trainer, author, entrepreneur, you may have one, but to get it in 6HK, to get it in movie quality and hire someone, what would it cost for you to fly there, to stay, to shoot, post-production? That's why we have that vetting process, because it's not like YouTube where anyone can just throw some content up there. So here's a little bit on Robert's course, which is gorgeous, right? The authority key. So the first thing that happens when your course is in the academy, it lays out here at the top all about the course. And then you can start seeing the different modules and the titles of those. That, you know, number one for him, the power of a dream. Number two, mentorship, action, success through celebration. All the way down to the end is last course. And then you have here, the courses are created by Robert Raymond Riopel, right? So here's Robert. And now at the bottom, it tells all about Robert. So same thing, it'll tell all about you. And as I mentioned earlier, it shows also here Robert's from Canada, so you know what side of the world Robert's from. But here's the important part. If you wanted to reach out to Robert, then you have Robert's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all his social media profiles to be able to connect to him directly. And I'll show you how this works later on, which is very, very important. So let's say you get a chance to dive into the course, right? And dive into our community. Our community, now picture this, someone now subscribes to Robert's course, boom, on our community. We have our own social media platform, which will go beyond billions. And this is important to understand. Why are we going to grow faster than most of the other social media platforms that are out there right now? Because we're actually paying our distribution force to help build our platform. There've never been a social media platform where they actually pay you to build it. All of us, if you're on Facebook, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on, you know, any of the other platforms right now, we've built it at no cost. So in our platform, what's going to be up here, look on the right-hand side where it says the best, learn now, legendary success, there's always going to be this rolling soliloquy, which for like Facebook, it's almost like Facebook ads. But this will be sharing and bringing out all the new courses and contents every week. So if you get shoot this week and you're done, your course is out next month. So this week, this month, next year, all the new courses and popular courses will be popping up to our community so that they can subscribe, so they can get into your course, so they can devour it and connect with you much better. And just, you know, just like Facebook does the same thing, like, shares, community, take polls, have mentions. Over here on course discussion on the left-hand side, this shows all the different courses that Super B is actually taking part of. The polls that she's running, the ability to actually interact in her activity center, right? Where she has her activity friends and polls and her at mentions. The at mentions, for example, she could look at Robert's course and at mention Robert. It tags Robert, or in a sense, it tags you, tags your course, whatever she's learning from your course. That way she can take a poll and continue in the community. So we're building a community of raving fans for you already that saves you a lot on personal marketing and branding, because we're doing that for you within our community. So with this course, if she was already looking at master sales, highlighting that and tagging and sharing that, that gives a chance to see who she's following, the other folks that's following her. And this is what her dashboard looks like. All of the members in our community, their dashboards are very similar. So we've also gamified the process by which they're partaking in your courses. And right now, Super B is subscribed to 18 courses. She's watched 52 hours worth of content. You see where she's at in Dubai, how to get in touch with her if you want to, different posts that she's done in her achievements. And down here, there's more achievements to come. This one tells a little bit about active members who at this point made over 10 or more social actions in a month. They get, achieve that achievement. And then, the most important thing in our society today is the gamification, which controls activity. And when that activity has to do with the viewership, the interaction with your product on our platform, it's very, very powerful for you and your brand as you build. So let's take a deeper dive into what happens with the courses here. So within her whole scope with the 18 courses that she's subscribed to, you see here, it shows you how much she's actually watched together with blockchain, 10%, mastering sales, 5%, right? Heart-led living, 5%, my course, 20%. This one here, success means 100 on board by Steve Martin, 40%, so on and so forth. And it goes on and goes on, right? So it's taking a poll, and here you get a chance to see the percentage of all of hers, but at the same time, takes a poll. You see a linkage of how many is following that person and who she's following. This was all done in beta, so there's not a lot showing now. But imagine as we build hundreds, thousands, millions, billions as we go beyond, and folks start to have that following. This is my absolute favorite. You don't see anything in here. Is why? Because this is where we have our own case studies that each person can develop with your work, their own library, their own resources and useful links like your websites or social media sites to keep there. But the most important part is the notebook. For me, I'm a very astute note taker. So by taking notes, they can take notes on your course. Now, here's the part that's very, very powerful. A lot of us are not traveling because we're shut down due to COVID. But once we start traveling again, our company, ASCIRA will be doing anywhere between 2 to 4 main events a year, where a lot of our speakers will be able to come and speak on our stages. Imagine coming to one of our live events. There's 20, 30, 40,000 individuals there who can take now notes live when you're speaking and sharing. Maybe you're speaking about a new program. Maybe you're speaking or you're selling your book. Maybe whatever it is, you're there, but they're taking notes continuously, and they're able to access that, whether it's on their smart device or on the laptop. They never lose that notebook, so they never lose your golden nuggets. They never lose the things, the diamonds that you put out in your course, and they always have it with them to learn. This is very, very powerful, and it helps in the gamification process. So here's another course from another great friend of mine doing the Ultimate Guide to Network Marketing, Mr. Darren Kidd. Tells here about Darren's course. Why this is important is now I want to show you what happens when someone actually clicks on the module, one of the modules, and going through what actually happens behind. They clearly get to see the path of the course. Then you get a chance to actually see the path of the course is basically the modules. Then you look here and see they're going through the path. Then what's next is learners. Then you have the discussion. Well, what's learners? Learners shows how many people are actually in that course that subscribe to it. So you picture here with Super B, 10, 100, 1,000 other individuals, and you get a chance to see and track what's going on the platform with us here. They can have a discussion. She can break the ice and have a discussion, post, whether it's a URL, share an image, take a poll, on whatever module in the path of learning that starts to gamify the process by which they're identifying you and your work to put on our platform and tagging you. Now, someone, if they fall in love with your course and they say they want to reach out and touch you, how can they do that? And it's very simple. At the end of the course, it talks all about Darren and gives them a chance. And they say, you know what? I just want to maybe reach out to Darren on Facebook. I'm going to pause here for a second. Do you understand, for those of you who are speaker, trainer, authors, entrepreneurs, and we've spent years, money, hundreds of thousands of dollars building our businesses, branding ourselves around the world, how important it is for a company with a very exclusive, closed community of individuals actually looking and raving for your content and about your content to have direct access to you, to now work with you directly one-on-one, where, listen, let's just be honest, in business, you can upsell them to your other programs or whatever, and the company's not looking for a dime back from that. Here's the deal. Some people say, and I'm glad, the truth is the ones who do not see this opportunity, it's okay. That's why it's called an opportunity. They will say that it's too good to be true. And I'm glad, because only those with vision will see it before the masses do. And I want you guys to get it, because this is very powerful. I saw the ability to brand myself, to be connected globally. Within the first 3 weeks of getting started, I had folks reach out to me from Spain, from Iraq, from Iran. I had folks reach out for me all over the world. And obviously, I don't speak the language. I haven't been branding there, but they're on the platform and they want to just connect, build a friendship. This is very powerful, because people continue to buy from people they know, like, and trust. And we're giving you that trust factor from our platform. If you only say yes, go through our process and get there. So the live version is coming. So as you look at it, stay tuned at the live version. I'm going to jump in a little bit to talk about the opportunity a bit. But before I do that, I really want to share this. If you're interested in becoming a content provider for us on our platform, definitely connect back to the person. It's at no cost to you, except for, here's what you're doing. Once you're accepted, the company then gets an exclusive contract between you and our company where your content is exclusively on our platform. You still retain your intellectual property rights for your content to do what you need to do. We're just getting the rights for those videos on our platform, so it's unique to us, that you don't recreate it in the exact same way or manner somewhere else. We're just wanting to make sure that it is exclusive to the ASCIRA platform where folks can get to see you, because we're going to market and brand you. And, you know, as Robert said, he actually did the exact same thing. His content's on the platform, but he saw the opportunity to build the business side of us, which is what we've already been doing. So I want to talk a little bit about the opportunity, but before I do that, I just want to introduce Robert here for a second, because Robert saw this just like most of you are looking at it, to be able to put his content and be branded globally, but he saw the opportunity in building the business. And recently, we'll talk about it later on here, he became one of our newest diamonds building the business to replace his own income while he's having fun. So Robert, I'm excited. What has that process been like for you in the last, 90 days or 97 days, seeing it, getting your work on the platform, participating in the business opportunity, and now getting to the state or the example of what you were actually looking to do by being on here?
Well, you want to see a roller coaster. It's a good thing I love roller coasters because it has been a roller coaster ride from the beginning. Again, I've used products for network marketing companies for years. One product I use daily, and I've used it for 8 years now, every single day, and I love it. But I never had a chance to full on dive in and how do I build a team. So in the first part, it was listen. It was www.zipit.com, put both ears forward and ask the questions. Go to mentors like yourself and Steve Martin and ask, how do I do this? What's the best way to do this? How do I follow the system? And frustration, because I like things to happen quick.
Right.
And I'm like, let's go.
Who doesn't,
but
right?
Then, what's that?
I said, who doesn't?
Well, right. But then learning to just and trust the system and follow the process.
Right.
And then also when I started seeing momentum building, all of a sudden belief started coming in, because I had set the intention I wanted to hit at least diamond. Right. Or as John Satora said, why are you thinking so small? Turn my own training, my own advice back on me. He's brilliant. And so I decided to set it higher. And right. So I started, now what's it going to take? And doing those IPAs, those income producing activities every single day, making sure I'm not just busy, but make sure I'm capitalizing and being productive. And all of a sudden being there to support my team, I saw the momentum building. When we hit diamond, it was just, I don't know if I felt relief or what, but also my mind went, what's next? Yeah. And the logical next step was, how do I help my team get to diamond, get as many of them? And so when the company extended the pre-launch, it was instantly, I like 3s, 6s, and 9s. It was like, I want 6, at least minimum, 6 more diamonds in my team before October 1st. So now taking the focus on more onto them.
Right.
How do I get you there? How do I be of service? Because again, helping other people automatically helps raise me up. And so I'm on calls. I'm treating it like a business. And the analogy I love to use, Dr. O, is when I used to be a Domino's Pizza franchisee for 9 years, if I didn't show up to open my store or had a staff rep member to do it, my business didn't do anything. And the difference between a brick and mortar and network marketing, home-based, is people give themselves reasons not to treat it like a brick and mortar. That's one of the reasons I believe, network marketing, they should charge a lot more to get in, because then people will actually treat it like a business.
Right. Yeah.
The average Domino's pizza on average costs you $250,000 to buy or build when I sold my last store. And the reality was you were buying yourself a $60,000 to $100,000 a year job.
Right.
And with network marketing, for a few hundred or a few thousand, if you treat it like a business, like a brick and mortar business, and you do the IPAs, you can create the income that people only dream of.
Yeah, that's so powerful. Robert, that's so powerful. And what you said, it really is that lower barrier of entry that a lot of folks sometimes when the pressure gets on, they just say, well, it's not that important. if they've made their money back, they're like, yeah, no problem. But if they've invested 250,000, it's going to take a while to make 250 back. So they'll stay long, and then before the focus in the profit. So thanks for sharing that. I appreciate it. I'm going to jump in a little bit more on the money side, guys, so you can see this. Because when I shared this with Robert, and I said, listen, for you, it might not be, but right now I know for me, it was the right time, right place, and the right company, because I was looking to brand myself. In my last company that I started building with our CEO, Ms. Vasana Patel, we were traveling around the world every weekend in a different state or a different country, having a blast. And my wife was like, hello, excuse me. You need to find a way to be home some more, because when you think about it, every week I flew in on Monday and I'm gone on Thursday. We really only had 2.5 to 3 days. And with a 2-year-old, she says, I didn't have this child by myself, so I'm not raising it by myself. So, in real estate, and I've done a lot of investing in real estate, it's all about location. In business, I've known it's all about timing, right? So if you've ever dreamed about working from home, listen, Mother Nature just told the whole world, time out, you're staying home. Everybody's at home now, and the home-based industry is exploding. So it's definitely the right timing. I get to work with those I love and from home with my wife and my beautiful daughter, and the recognition I'm deserving because I'm willing to work for it. But the financial security for so many other people is very, very important. And as soon as we're able to travel the world again as freely as before, I'm on there, right? So let's talk about what we've done. So what we've done as a social lifestyle community is taken 5 of the golden markets. This is huge. Like, these are the world engines that drive the economy of the world. These are the 5 golden markets. Number 1 is social media marketing and advertising. Whether you participate in it or not, $55 billion has been generated on an annual basis. And since COVID hit, that's went up. The network marketing industry, $190 billion. The home-based business industry, since COVID hit, that already went up, $190 billion. Leadership training, this is basically your work on our platform and other professionals. That's over $1 billion every 24 hours is spent in this industry. Now, all of this was prior to March 1st when COVID actually locked down the world. Everything has went up and to the right. Travel is the only one kind of tapered off at 8.8 trillion. And the world is clawing at the teeth to travel again. And we'll share a little bit of how we're going to help you save a great deal on travel once it opens back up. And then e-commerce. Now, this is crazy because e-commerce was 29 trillion annually, but e-commerce increased 80%, same as Zoom. Imagine that, because we're all home. We still want to connect, so we're connecting virtually. We're all home. We still want to shop, so we're shopping virtually. Because of this, the founder of Amazon, Bezos, is projected to be the next trillionaire in the world. And because of this, Zoom already increased by $7 billion. It's insane. So we've actually tied all 5 of these golden engines together in our social learning community, and we're going to release by connecting the digital and the virtual and the physical. We'll talk about our physical product here in a second, to go beyond $1 billion. And how we're planning on doing that is in 3 simple phases. The first phase is what we're doing here, building and expanding the global marketing team. We've extended our pre-launch phase in our marketing side of it, building in phase 1 up until October 1st. So September 30th, it ends. And in this space, we're only bringing on those who have vision. Let me share this. Vision is a function of the heart. Sight is a function of the eyes. This is for more of the people who actually feel it, that can see it. Because as humans, we're driven by 3 sectors of communication. Number 1 is words, which is 7%. Number 2 is what we see. That's 40%. But number 3 is emotion. And that's 53%. Even if you add what you see today and what you hear, so what we're speaking, it's together, it's still not enough to influence how you feel. So sometimes your logic will talk you out of the right emotions to build something. If you hear that calling, whether you're going to put content or not, the opportunity is here. And Robert has zero network marketing experience, which is what I love, because some people will say, well, Obom, you're having a success because you've had 15 years. And I get that. But Robert had zero and he still did it in 97 days. Phase 2 is unleashing our social media platform, which is already there, utilizing those that we've built in the thousands to really start pushing the social media platform. We're going to pay to get that done, which ties into e-commerce. There's so much getting done in e-commerce right now. And those 9,000+ companies that are already on Amazon, Alibaba, or on social media advertising, we already have the contracts with them to do the exact same thing. And we're going to charge them zero to advertise on our platform. You want to talk about capturing the market share? We're going to take it. So as I mentioned a little bit about travel, we're going to help you save up to 70% on travel. Here's what I want to say about this. My favorite part is where it says down here, enjoy the loyalty reward points and more. I love to travel. Most of you who know me, some of you who don't, my wife and I actually spend about up to 6 months a year in Hawaii. We go there 4 different times a year, 2 to 3 months apiece, and just have a great time. She loves Hawaii. I love Hawaii. We love tropical countries. I was born in South America. I was born on an island, so I love the tropicals, right? But what I love the most is my Hawaiian Miles Travel and MasterCard, because we put millions of dollars a year on there. All my businesses are ran on there. All the bills that we pay is on there. So the points rack up, which gives us 4 free round trip first class tickets to Hawaii. It's not about the card. It's about the points. So we're offering that. You get an access to our smart travel platform, because the best way to travel is smart when you're saving income. Our one physical product is just coffee. I don't drink coffee. My wife does. I love my wife, so I buy coffee. This is not a fancy coffee. It's going to be limited in some markets, especially in the Asian arena. But besides all the health benefits that you get from just coffee, you can actually now profit from every cup if you drink, and about 67% of the world drinks coffee. And the thing is, once someone starts drinking coffee, typically they never stop. You get a chance to make every coffee, every cup a profit center shared. So let's dive in a little bit about, the money, and talk about the 9 ways we get paid here. So the 9 ways we get paid, and I'm going to bring Robert back on, because Robert has this stuff we talk. We're going to go back and forth. I want you to talk about the first 3, Robert, because you talk about the cha-ching baby when you start doing this, but I love how you share and present the first 3. And then we'll have you talk about the last one too, because I know that's one of your absolute favorites now that you just recently become a diamond too. But I want to just have some fun with this. So let's talk about the first one.
Oh, dude, you put the pressure on me to have to actually have fun with this. Come on now.
No pressure.
Personal retail. Look, 20%. This is the difference between retail price and the wholesale price. In my Domino's Pizza, my best year, we made 12% profit. And so here, just by having retail customers, you earn 20% just for sharing the academy with people. How much better can it be than that? That's where, it's cha-ching, baby, because cha-ching is a beautiful thing. That's only number 1. Number 2 is the personal wholesale. We are in pre-launch right now, so this is the big one for most people building their teams. I bring on an associate, whatever package they come on at, I instantly make 15% override on that person. And that is huge when you're wanting to create cash flow quick, create momentum, especially in this time where a lot of people's income was taken away or severely reduced because of COVID-19. So that's number 2. Number 3.
And Robert, how many people can you bring on personally?
Oh my goodness, there's no limit.
I love it.
No limit.
I love it.
So that is amazing, especially when you talk about number 6, the power of that one.
Right.
And so number 3 is the power of team. This is the one I ask people all the time. Can you be successful on your own? And a lot of people will automatically say, no, you can't. Well, yes, you can. You absolutely can. But it's going to be harder. It's going to take you a lot longer. It's going to be a lot more frustrating. But when you have a team around you and you have that power of the team, as you teach the duplication, If you're writing notes, write that word down. Duplication. When you have the power of the team working for you, and you maybe 1 or 2 days, or you decide to go on holiday for 3 weeks, your team's still producing because you've taught them how to follow the system. Well, you can earn up to 35% of the work that your team's doing. And this is what I really love when you have that personal team based on customers that they're bringing in, that people you've sponsored, your customers, your team members' customers, and people they're bringing on. That's exciting, and that's only number 3. I'll turn number 4 over to you, young sir.
That's awesome. Thank you, Robert. And you know what's powerful? You were talking about being able to build a team, but as the team starts to grow and more folks come in spite of you, in spite of your efforts, you get a chance to get, still earn up to 35% from what's called the placement volume, from someone showing up on your team that you didn't bring in personally is very, very powerful. And I love this because it's leveraged income. And I would rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts rather than 100% of my own as a way to generate income, because it means less work. It's like the fulcrum, right? The fulcrum eases how much weight the fork lifts. It's leverage. But the largest way we're going to generate income here is with the customer base. There's going to be up to 80% of the income coming in from customers, and you get to earn 35% of a third of the subscription. So we're basically the Netflix for growth and development in education. As you look at this, is very, very powerful, right? So when you see that, the matching bonus for everyone that you personally bring on, for everyone that you help train and develop, you can earn up to 50% on a check match of what they're doing. If they're earning $5,000 a month, that's $2,500 on a check match, up to 50% of what they're doing. Not from them. The company has set that aside to you. And on a second and a third generation, meaning the folks that they bring in, you get a check match of that too, and the percentages are shared here. But it's very, very powerful to experience the benefits of residual income. Now, the 7th way we get paid is as you continue to build your business, you'll progress through the ranks. And as you progress through the ranks, it's very powerful to understand how important it is to progress as you go. And as a matter of fact, you know what, Robert? I thought I was going to let you do only the 9th one because, you've gotten to this amazing position recently. How about you just do 7, 8, and 9? Because this is very powerful. And I just love to see the excitement of your face being able to progress in just a few short months without having any experience in the industry.
Well, number 7, the best way I've found to actually explain this one is the amazing Vinnie Cochran, what he says. It is so awesome. 30 years as a Marine, first of all, thank you all for your service, all our service people. Thank you for that. Absolutely. And, with 4th of July, 2 days away, your Independence Day, wow, I just can't be grateful enough for that. And what he says is in the Marines, in his 30 years, he got promoted rank to rank to rank to the top of the non-commissioned officers ranks. And every time he got a rank advancement, he did get a raise. But not once did they come up, salute him, and say, Mr. Cochran, here's your one-time bonus for going to the next level. Well, ASCIRA does. The moment you hit bronze, then silver, then gold, and then platinum, double platinum, diamond, and above, they're giving you a one-time rank advancement anywhere from $250 up to, look at that far right one. That's my goal. I'm looking long-term, Royal Ambassador. That one alone is a $1 million bonus when you hit that rank for the first time. All of them accumulated is over 2 million. So let's do math because I like math. Let's say you decide to not just walk, but you decide to jog and build this team. And say it takes you 10 years to get to Royal Ambassador. Well, just on this one bonus alone, 2 million divided by 10, that means you're averaging $200,000 a year just on that advancement alone. That is life-changing, that kind of income. And that's just number 7. Number 8, oh, wow. It just keeps getting better. Lifestyle. You and I were having this conversation earlier. I'm not willing to give up my lifestyle. If there's something I want, I will figure out the way to earn the money to get it if I don't have it already. I like my lifestyle. And so what ASCIRA has done is said, when you get to silver and above, every single month, like clockwork, we're going to give you a bonus for lifestyle. And I know you said this is not your bonus, Dr. O, that your wife Anna's already claimed it as hers for her shopping. But imagine what you can do with an extra $300 to $10,000 a month cash to do with as you please, just as a bonus. That's number 8. Oh, and you better believe I'm warming up the dance. I got my hands ready. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. This is one of the ones. Why can't I be excited? Because I just qualified for this. This is like Mark Zuckerberg coming to you and saying, I'm starting this thing called Facebook. Would you like some shares in it? And today, what would that mean? Well, with ASCIRA, you put in the work, you get the diamond. And they don't give actual shares, but they take 3% of the worldwide revenue, put it into a pool, and then equally divide it amongst the 10 ranks of diamond and above. And because there's not a lot of people in this, each of those chunks is pretty good cha-ching, if you know what I mean. So that's why I get excited about number 9, Dr. O.
Awesome. And cha-ching is a beautiful thing. But you know what's cool, Robert? You and I connect a lot because we love doing high experiential masterminds.
Absolutely.
And the company is, in a sense, creating some of these high experiential masterminds in our peak performance rewards program. And, you know, the regional leaderships, the Diamond Summit and the $1 Million Club are going to be very, very high end. The $1 Million Club is the highest end you get to. You even get your own jacket, ladies. One will be done made specially for you as well. And then our Diamond Summits is a little more high-end, red carpet, and the regional summits will do those all around the world. It's very important because the food, the trips, it's all on the company's dime, and it's so much better. So, Robert, let's tell them a little bit about how they can get started with, actually, I'll talk about this one because I know you invested in the next pack to share really much why you did and, you know, what you've seen on your ROI. So the 2 packs we'll share with you guys today, you can get started with. Now, while we're here in pre-launch, there's a $1,200 discount. We were stopping pre-launch until June 4th, which we just recently extended all the way to September 30th. It's only $500 now, which gives you access to all of our marketing centers, 4 months of the academy, 4 months of travel, and 1 convention ticket. The value of this is $1,700. It's upgradable to the Founders Club, but here's what's important. While we're in pre-launch, you're able to get started now. The next 3 months does not count. So you're basically getting 7 months of access to the travel, 7 months of access to the academy, but that's upgradable to the Founders Club. So Robert, why don't we tell them a little bit about this limited club and why you decided to become a founder?
Well, you know, it's that word that you've used a couple times, access. So for this one, like put aside that I want to be a content producer. Did they spend already more than $5,000 on me to put my material together? Oh yeah, absolutely. But the Founders Pack as itself, you get the same, you get the Founders Club pin, which is going to instantly recognize you to people. There's only 1,000 that will ever be in the history of the company. Not 1,000 a year, not 1,000 per country, but 1,000 total. And so you'll get that Founders Club pin so people know who you are. You're going to activate all 3 of those marketing centers. Why leave money on the table? You want maximum payout on the comp plan. You're highlighted on the corporate Facebook. If you want to be known and people watch your material or know you, you want to be highlighted. Right. You get the lifetime priority. And I'm going to go to another one of my team members for this one, Samira. I love what she says. We have these world conventions. We got 5, 6, 10,000 people. General tickets, they're going to be lined up at the door from 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning to get a good seat. Not the founders. We're going to walk in like the boss because we have priority access. And we get to bring a guest for all events automatically. That in itself, if you add up, will save you thousands and thousands of dollars over a few years. It's amazing. You'll also get the invitation to all rank qualified training events, which means even if you haven't reached Diamond, but they're doing a Diamond training event, as a founder, you're invited. So you get to experience it, you get to learn just like the Diamonds are. And then you're going to get 18 months of the academy. You're going to get 12 months of smart travel from October 1st. But Dr. O, here's the main thing. And this was a conversation I just had with someone just over an hour ago. The main reason I did the Founders Pack is because the masterminding we're going to do with the other founders. And you talk about high-end individuals we get together. the woman I was explaining to it, she said, she stopped me right there. She goes, whoa, 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 we're going to mastermind. I said, yeah. And she goes, do you know what I pay on masterminds alone? And I said, yeah, hey, I just did one on a private jet where my students paid $5,000 a piece to join me for a day on a private jet for one day. I said, I invest $25,000 a year in a medium mastermind I'm part of.
Right.
And she goes, and we're going to mastermind. I'm like, you better believe it. She goes, I'm in. That's all she needed to hear. Because she knew she's instantly saving thousands of dollars on that alone.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that, Robert, because it's very powerful, the people you associate with. So we've come to the end to really just ask you a simple question of, do you see the opportunity? Do you see the opportunity? And if you do, there's really only one here to ask. If you see the opportunity, get back to the person that really invited you or introduced you to this live right now to learn and connect and grow here with us so that they can tell you what the next steps are. So what I'm going to do here